So welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence presentation, our broadcast on the Up Convergence, Unity and Peace. I'm Noelle Marshall, and I'm so thankful for all the co-creators that have put this whole week of broadcasts together. We're in our various arts are discussing the theme of unity and peace. And so what I'd like to do right now, I'm going to turn this over to Trujillo-Heffernan, who hosts our Heart Hour. So Karen, thank you for coming.
I am the founder of Surf in Your Soul Family Services, and my work is on the heart and soul level. And today we have just really, to me, my friendship with Cherie is the epitome of when we meet people at the soul level and trust our heart. Because maybe in tangible time or 3D time, Cherie and I haven't known each other very long. Yet when we met through Co-Creators Convergence in Loveland, Colorado, there was an instant connection. Her work, quantum therapeutics, phenomenal, reminded me of the instantaneousness of Heart Thread, and how we can make quantum leaps to our harmony, our balance, our wholeness, and our light to release old traumas and fears. So I'm going to let Cherie, get into the nuts and bolts of that. Yet I will say that each moment that goes by that I get to know Cherie a little bit more, I just know that I found a soul sister and someone who is as passionate as I am is making sure that every single child on this planet is nourished in every way possible and connected to all aspects of their being so that they can live in the fullness of their soul and what I call surf in your soul. So Cherie, I hand it off to you. I'm going to go on mute and I'm here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here today. And I work with people who have experienced immense trauma in their lives. PTSD is kind of a buzzword right now. And I think that when we can understand that often we get trapped in these cycles, but what's real and true is that if you have PTSD, you're a superhero to start out with, right? Because to create PTSD in the first place takes quantum action, right? A flashback is nothing more than a quantum jump through time, right? And when we can understand that, wow, like this little being, that experienced such trauma, understood that they could create an out-of-body experience. They could get out of their body and away from the pain, right? And that's pretty amazing. I was probably 40 when I realized that that's what I was doing, that astral traveling, quantum jumping, and out-of-body experiences were something that I did every day, right? Now, I do believe that for us to be changing the world today, integrity is a big, solid piece in that. For us to have harmony in this world out here, there has to be harmony in our inner being as individuals and in our families. And I honor each and every one of you that are stepping up and saying, I'm going to take this on, right? Because we can change that, and we can change it instantaneously. So the quantum mechanics of trauma are pretty brilliant to be true. If we've got a child that rises up out of their body, they separate their astral body from their physical body, right? And then they look down on this moment and they think, how am I going to get up and have breakfast with these same people? I'm going to put that in a bubble. I'm going to encapsulate that, much like a cyst that we would gain in our bodies, right? I'm going to encapsulate that infection so that tomorrow I can get up and be free of that moment and interact and play like any other child would. And what we don't realize as adults is that that becomes our go-to. We're just like out all the time. I don't know how often I hear people say, I need to be in my body. I'm always just watching myself sit here, watching myself live. You know, that's an out-of-body experience. It's amazing. It's brilliant. So when we decide that we want to put this back together, this fragmentation, it's important for us to understand that our astral body has molecules. And it's always been just an idea. Oh yeah, I'm fragmented. But what does that really mean? What does that really mean? Well, there's a program running in these loops like Groundhog Day, all you know, day in and day out, 24/7. And you're experiencing that 24/7, right? It's like a virus that gets in your computer and is just always running, you know, and undermining everything until the moment that it crashes. Now, I know many of us are with this virus are feeling trapped and alone and isolated, and many of these old wounds are rising to the surface. And I would love for us to be able to look at the idea that nothing's going to change on this planet until we hit something in an awareness, right? And can look around and see the dissidents. And we're there. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. Now, one thing I've really noticed often with my clients, what's been coming through is the wisdom circuit, right? Now, the Corpus Callosum is the passageway between our left and right brain. And I know that many of us feel we get trapped in our analytical brain or our creative brain, right? Trauma narrows that passageway, right? Now, I've been bringing people into this Corpus Callosum for years now. And one of my clients just sent me an article saying that, you know, neuroscience has now claimed the Corpus Callosum as the control room of our brain, right? You can access that, right? By dropping down. We're going to do that in a few minutes. Now, the wisdom circuit connects all the brain cells in your body, right? Now, I know that right now, the heart is big conversation, but the heart, when it's not connected to the rest of our wisdom, we're operating from emotion and often find our choices to be questionable later, right? We're like, oh, well, that person isn't quite who I thought they'd be, or this didn't turn out quite as I was hoping it would, right? Now, the wisdom circuit, when we drop down into that corpus callosum, connects our left brain, our right brain, our third eye, down to the brain cells in our heart, and down into those brain cells in our gut, right? What would it feel like to have your whole system working in tandem where you could be operating real time without having to go off and think about things, right? So that's super powerful. And we're going to walk through that in a few minutes, actually bringing you the alignment of your astral body with your physical body and connecting that circuit all at the same time. Now, I know for my clients over and over again, they bump up against the social, quote, norms, and they're operating from an antisocial family environment, right? And socially, to be able to look at your family and understand that they're operating from faulty programs as well, right? And they are standing next to the abuser most often and pushing you out. And I think that often, that this is a piece that just isn't talked about very much. And It's been on my heart really, really big lately that nothing's going to change on this planet until this family unit is restored. And standing next to the abuser, because it's easier, is the highest level of victim shaming there is on this planet. To be denied by your mother or your father or your sister or your brother, right? And I know one of the, I call him the great white wizard, says, you know, to be right-minded, we're going to be walking away from mother, father, sister, brother. And I want to just, you know, rest in that is the hardest choice a survivor will ever have to make, is can I give up everything that I knew to be true, every person that I thought I loved or that loved me, to be able to be self-sufficient and self-reliant. And it really requires us depersonalizing these experiences and stepping back and saying, you know, if the emotion is pouring in, what around this is my truth? What is true? And when I heard Raphael talking yesterday about this, the personal responsibility, that rang so true for me because it's been coming in very hard. We've got to stop blaming, right? We have got to stop blaming. Blaming is a shirk of responsibility. Blaming is us saying, okay, I am missing choices and I'm not liking how that feels, so somebody has to be doing something to me. When I was studying with Deepak Chopra, he said to me one time, he said, you know, unless a lion or a tiger or a bear is chasing you, unless you've got a knife to your throat, how are you being hurt? Your feelings don't get hurt. Your feelings get flared when we are out of sync with what's going on, when we're not seeing truth, right? And when we're taking things personally with that need to defend. I think a big conversation right now is boundaries, and that's a word that really sticks in my craw, because boundaries, you break that. I'm kind of a word Nazi. I'm a writer. Boundaries are bound are we. And if you're setting up boundaries, you're setting yourself up to have to defend them, right? In our integrity, in our personal responsibility, you choosing what you want, who you want to be, how you want to show up in the world, right? How you want to be viewed. What do you like, right? It requires us sitting in that and choosing, right? We're playing a game. A few years ago, read that there were 3 NASA scientists that had decided that we were playing this simulated video game and forgot and took on the role of the little game piece versus the one in control of the game, right? And if we could really drink that in, we could start maneuvering life in a new and different way, right? What if in this amazing system that you were given, I see things very much like algorithms and the computer. I see life like that, numbers. And if we could sit into that, we would have to think, wow, if this creator created this system, would he have given us a way to be notified where we need to put our attention? Right? Science says 400 billion bits of information are coming into our brain every second. And the average human operates on 100 of those bits. So it stands to reason that we would have a notification to say, ding, ding, this is happening over here. Need your attention. That doesn't mean I live in the notification. That doesn't mean I live in the crisis. That means I can be aware of it and pay attention and find a solution through that situation. There's not a game on this planet that isn't going to have problems or what's the word I'm trying to think of, you know, for us to move through. What game is fun without that, right? And if we could realize that we're on this amazing treasure hunt rather than this lifetime of work and toil and struggle, life is different, right? Now, to be in the world and not of it requires us to bring all these fragments, all the frayed pieces of ourselves into integrity in one space, one time, one timeline, one reality. So when we go through the quantum process, what we're truly doing is initiating a quantum jump back to the time of the first anchor of that incident, be it this lifetime or, you know, 100 lifetimes back. It doesn't matter. Wherever this cycle was anchored, we go there. As you of today, a quantum jump back, right? You're not the child, you're not the person in that situation, you're going there as the solution maker, right? And we're going there with purpose, right? We're going to bring back those molecules of your astral body that are trapped there. And we're going to integrate them. It's kind of like I was given this vortex that shows up for people. And I always say it's like going into the blender, right? We're going to go into the blender and we're going to integrate these molecules back into your astral body. Now, very instantly, people come back and go, oh, I feel fuller. I feel solid. My arms feel longer, right? Because just think about it. You know, we've got these little versions of ourselves that are showing up, trying to save us, right? And they're usually in one emotion. And they're trying to save us. I remember being in, when I opened my first business, being at the bank and sitting there, and all of a sudden I felt small. I felt like my feet couldn't touch the floor. I felt like I had all little kid words in my brain, and I'm trying to be a grown-up, right? That's a very difficult space for us to move forward, right? So when we can bring all these younger versions of ourselves back in to the whole, rest happens very quickly and very easily, right? We start sleeping better. Our physical being starts getting healthier. We move into a space of wholeness in all 5 levels of our being. Now, I know for myself, when I was going through my process of healing, I seemed to have a physical doctor. I had a psychiatrist. I had a therapist. I had, you know, all these different experts looking at one level of my being. Trauma affects all layers of being, right? Our mental capacities, our emotional, spiritual, physical, and behaviors. And behaviors are something that is, you know, a very conscious, strategic space for us to be able to go, okay, that didn't quite work out the way I thought it would. Tomorrow I'm going to try this, right? Then we're in solution. When we're in a victim space, we are in this space of problem 24/7. And our world is set up like that, right? You know, trauma bonding, let's talk about all of our problems, but we need to know that anytime we're putting words around these problems in such a solidified way, you're going to create it again and again, right? I often bump up a place with my clients where I'm like, okay, there's a whole lot of words over here in this bucket of worry, and there's very few words over here in the good, in what you are, in who you are, and what's good is happening in your life. You're manifesting all the time. And when we're overhearing the problem, we don't even see when the Creator shows up. I had this beautiful woman that, you know, the first time I met with her, she was like, I need a new house and I need a car. Within 3 weeks, she had a new house and she had a car, and there was just complaining words around all of that, right? Being able to see that gratitude changes everything. Being able to see that we are manifesting. We're manifesting what our words bring forward, right? Our future, our past, our experiences are built on words. And when we start taking control of those words and start editing before they come out of our lips, that's when manifestation starts being so powerful. So what I would like to do is walk you through the process of realigning your astral body with your physical body and connecting that wisdom circuit. And I would love to hear what feels different for you. I would love to see what looks different for you. And so here we go. I'd love for you to just sit back, close your eyes. And first, I'd like for you to move out of looking at the backs of your eyelids with your physical eyes and see what your perception of the room is that you're sitting in. Can you see yourself sitting in it? Right? If you do see yourself sitting in the room, are you in front of yourself? Can you see your face? Are you seeing the back of your head? Right? Now we're going to bring ourselves to the ceiling above the top of your head. And we're going to drop down through the crown of your head. And we're going to rest in that corpus callosum, and no worries, because your knowingness knows exactly where that is. And I like to picture the corpus callosum like a level, and you that little bubble. So I want you to find balance there between your left and right brain. Right? If you're feeling heavier on one side than the other, you're going to swing slightly over, right? Until there's complete balance in your head. And I want you to draw that energy that resides behind your eyes back into the corpus callosum as well. Great. Now let's watch that circuit connect, right? As that energy connects between the corpus callosum, left and right brain, and third eye. I always see like a triangle. Okay. Now we're going to drop down and we're going to fill up your chest. And we're going to experience all those those brain cells in your heart light up as that circuit connects. And we're going to fill up your arms and your fingers. Now we're going to drop down into your belly. And I want you to see all those brain cells in your gut light up as that circuit connects. We're going to fill up your thighs and your calves, all the way to the bottoms of your feet. Now let's bring your awareness to the big toe of your right foot and find your pulse there. We're going to bring your awareness to the big toe of your left foot. And we're going to find your pulse there. Now let's just start at the top of your head. And we're going to scan down, looking for what feels different. Welcome home, guys. Welcome home. I want to tell a little story. When I was in therapy, my final psychiatrist said to me on my final visit, he said, Cherie, I just don't know how to help you any further. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, all I can say is you're just not in there. And I was like, what does that mean? If I'm not in here, where am I? And he was like, I just don't know. I don't know. All I know is you're not in there. Right? And I could remember watching from the corner of the room as my father was shaking and hitting me as an infant, right? I could remember that. And as I was sitting in this astral travel class, experiencing very little because I was already out, right? And she brought us in. And for the first time that I could remember, I was looking out of my eyeballs. There's no way that your physical body can be supported when your astral body is across the room. It's your life force, right? And you're going to feel empty. You're going to feel separate. You're going to feel alone. Your body's going to feel tired. Your legs are going to feel weak. That is dissociation, right? Or this out-of-body experience. Now, what's interesting is we give that to people very readily who have had car accidents, who have been, having surgery, in a coma, right? Near-death experiences, we give that to grown-ups. But what we need to understand is these children were doing that out of a space of reaction. And most often don't know the difference, right? We don't know the difference. And I know for myself, I had many, many people try to put me in my body. You need to do it yourself, right? You need to do it yourself. And so often my clients were like, I can't stay in my body. I can't stay in my body. I'm like, it's an exercise, right? Just like learning to get out of your body, you've got to learn to be in there. And it's not been a go-to for us, right? So what are you guys all feeling right now? Right? Are you feeling any different? I hope so. How about you, Karen? Come back to me. Are you there?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
So much lightness. Two things I experienced, and I again just want to, if it's too much background noise, I'll have to mute. But so much lightness immediately after that. But one interesting thing I had that I felt is I had a really phenomenal experience about an hour and a half before this session. And as you were doing what you were doing, the first thing that came to my heart and mind was like, I think Cherie was already working on me before I came to this 2 o'clock meeting, or 2 o'clock my time, 5 o'clock. Something really powerful. Yeah.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, really.
Well, and I always laugh, I'm like, all right, so we've got this Ferrari of a vehicle, this very high-tech computer system, and we're operating like we were 1979, right? Our hardware has to be upgraded, which, we've been hearing a lot about frequency and about raising the frequency on the planet. Well, part of that is our individual hard drives, right? Being able to receive the information and programs that are coming in today and how fast they're coming in, and it's 333 right now where I am. I love that. I love numbers. So when we can understand how powerful we are, mental illness, I just don't believe in it. I do not believe in it. I believe that we got kicked in the stomach and sent sideways, right? But we can shift that. Our brains are so amazing, right? But it takes vigilance. All the amazing teachers say it requires vigilance over our minds to be right-minded in this world. We're trying right now as a collective to break free of this matrix. And the matrix is suffering, guys. Fear and suffering. If you're in a fearful, suffering state, you're not doing what you came here to do. Bottom line, right? Fear and the creator don't stand side by side, right? They don't go together. If fear's present, creator's not, right? So when we can step back and go, all right, I'm not being chased by a lion. I'm not being chased by a tiger. Nobody's got a knife to my throat. What real true choices do I have right now? And is fear relevant to the moment I'm standing in, right? We have to start really being consciously aware of what lens this emotion is giving to our current experiences. Over and over again, I see people like beautiful, wonderful things happening around them. I was working with this one woman who was like a week away from being homeless. And boom, this whole village of people shows up. They pack up her house, they find her an apartment, they pay first and last month rent, and they move her. And she couldn't see that, right? She's like, nobody ever does anything for me without, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Us waiting for the other shoe to drop is going to mean the other shoe's going to drop somewhere, right? Worry, one of my favorite writers, she wrote in the 20s, so, you know, she talked prayer versus manifestation, but she said worry is our strongest prayer, right? And when I really sat with that, what we have to understand is we have so many words around that, right? And normally our worry stories are repeated almost verbatim, word for word, to whoever will listen. And when we sit down to connect to that, you probably couldn't repeat that back to anyone, right? We have very few words or very much clarity in that space. Now back to this 400 billion bits, right? Do you approach Google without clarity, right? If we approach Google with a sloppy entry, we're going to get very sloppy results. As above, so below. That energy of creator is like the internet times a bazillion, right? It is a field of information. Where you put your attention in that field of information is going to be your life. And again, back to that depersonalization, right? Because if we can take responsibility for that, we can shift where we're looking. Vigilance, complete vigilance over our minds. Now, I would love to hear anything any of you have to say, so please feel free. Like, I'd love to know what you're experiencing. Now, when we think about...
So, yeah, Cherie.
Go ahead.
Cherie, we're just asking people, so we're trying to like keep the videos off and people muted, but if you do want to say something to Cherie, you have a question or a response, just pop on your video and wave to us and we can get you unmuted, and we want to hear what you have to say. Noelle, so.
Yeah, I would love it. I love questions. I love to respond in that spontaneous way. So if you guys have anything you want to throw in, please do. I love that.
Great. Well, thank you, Cherie. It was relaxing to go into my body, but I do remember I had a spiritual teacher one time, and she said, tell me 3 things you're unconscious of. And one of the things that popped out of me, it seemed like it came from nowhere, was my body.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I can't say that I have any experiences like like you're describing of, in fact, I feel it's always hard for me to visualize. And you say, go to the top of the room and look down at yourself. Well, I found myself really looking at the back of me and the front of the computer. But
At the back of you, that was your perception though.
mm,
Right? So often people have different perceptions. Oh, I feel like I'm on the side, or oh, I'm behind myself. Right? So, maybe you're having more experiences than you acknowledge.
well, I'm sure of that, especially in my dreams. But
Well, and I think that, we are very unconscious of our bodies, right? We're unconscious of them to the degree that, it's like our computer, right? So much is happening here, but without this case and this hard drive, we wouldn't be able to access any of it. And that's this. And I know that when we, and it's 1 in 3 people. So when we come from this place of trauma, our physical bodies were not respected. Right? Our bodies, our beingness was not respected, and it was not honored by those who were supposed to be honoring us, right? So when we move forward in life, honoring ourselves feels there's guilt around it most often, and often there is an unconscious even need for that, or it feels yucky to even think about our self. Most of the time when I write the word self, I capitalize it, right? Because our self is just as important as the next person's self, right? We can't love anybody else any more than we love ourselves, right? You can't give from an empty well. So the more you fill yourself up, the more that you acknowledge and pamper this body, right? The more you're going to be able to do that with others. Now, trauma happens on all 5 levels of our being, right? So we can't just change behaviors and expect all this to change. We can't just decide to be spiritual and have all this change, right? We have to really be looking at all 5 of these levels at the same time and grow them up. It's like growing up, right? And I often hear, well, I'm on my spiritual path. I don't need to worry about my body and blah, 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 right? You chose to be human. Being spiritual is being human. You chose that, right? So can we bring that down here and walk forward in the world and not of it and make change here? We don't have to rise away. And I think that is a piece that is shifting right now as well, or it needs to, right? I know when I first started studying meditation, they were taking me out, right? Like, get me out of this body. I'm like, holy moly, I need to learn how to be here. I need to learn how to be in my body and be a human, right? And what does it mean to be human, right? It means to be a very magical, powerful creature, right? When we look at the spiritual teachers, right? They're walking forward in the world and not of it, not affected by the chaos that's around them, always walking forward in a straight line towards solution, always, right? They weren't getting caught up in what was happening around them. Again, in the world and not of it. Anything that I can do, you can do, And that was taken away from us, and it's time for us to take it back, because you are a superhero. You are a powerful, powerful being. Now, what's amazing right now is the CIA just released these documents that speak about exactly what we're talking about right now. Astral jumping or quantum jumping to create balance and shifts for trauma, right? So the powers to be have known this would work for a long time, right? But our world is built financially on suffering as of today. There's a whole lot of money made there, right? So what I want to say to each and every one of you, you are a superhero. You are a powerful being. To be able to jump through time with just a thought, no time machine, no nothing, boom, that's amazing. Being able to create an out-of-body experience at the drop of a hat, that's amazing, right? To be able to see into the future, that's amazing. You're not crazy, right? And in other cultures, all these spiritual gifts that you gained through your difficulties in life, right? You would be the medicine man or the shaman. You wouldn't be in a crazy institution, right? Now, I've worked with people that have alternate personalities, schizophrenic, bipolar. It's all a level of fragmentation, right? It's different levels of the gift that we're seeing through fear, right? Watching a person that's been labeled with schizophrenia realize how amazing what they're experiencing is if the fear was removed is one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever witnessed, right?
So Cherie, what's so amazing here is, you know, we're here with the Up Convergence on a path to Peace Weekend. And what you're reminding us in this moment, and you took us through maybe I don't even think it was 6 minutes, and is how quickly we have access to this peace and unity like this. And for each of us here watching live, for each of you that are watching, because these videos are streaming live to Facebook, so we've got some people in this moment with us, some people are watching the hundreds of other offerings on the Up Convergence, and some people will be seeing this, you know, after today and the day after. And I heard somebody shift the word, you know, creating balance versus creating harmony, that there's just a little bit more ease creating harmony, a little less effort than maybe trying to make something balance and just being in harmony. So I feel like, I mean, one, I want to really make sure that I can type it in when you say it. I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you, because I've worked with you and had phenomenal shifts from something that, you know, had occurred when I was 8 years old and then just came up and out and just cleared and has remained cleared. So I want people to have access to that. And I really want to emphasize here in this moment, peace and unity. It's here now. It's here now.
Yeah, and it has to be here. It has to be here with each of us versus an idea, right? Because I think that grassroots rising up, that's what I keep seeing, is this grassroots rising up, right? And justice is a big word for me right now, and I not justice in the idea of consequences or punishment, but justice in the idea of, well, you say harmony, I say balance, right? You know, because I think that being out of balance your whole life, finding balance feels really amazing. And again, my name's Cherie Doyen. My website is cheriedoyen.com, and it's CHERIE, D as in David, OYEN.com. And I would love for you to book, it's completely free, 30-minute call, and let's just see, right? Because wow, like, you know, if you can get on your purpose and get unstuck, get on purpose, and do what you came here to do, the world's going to change. And that is my passion. That is my passion.
Perfect. Well, I see Bob is unmuted. We do still have about, 8 minutes here. So this is going beautifully. Bob.
Hey there. Hi, Cherie. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Good. I really appreciate this visualization. And for me, I wanted to underscore the journey from above, through, and down, traveling in my body. Underscore what Karen was saying, that I find a real peace in doing that. I don't initiate that myself, but I find that kind of peace when someone like yourself or others lead a guided meditation. I just find the energy of the day. So the day so far has included me trying to set the house on fire by overcooking something in the microwave because I'm working on the production. Having to race to Best Buy to get a piece of equipment and listening to yesterday's Democracy Now! Headlines on the way there, and today's headlines in Democracy Now! On the way back, and found that I was like anxious when I actually got out of the car from just listening to 12 minutes of headlines. And so the opportunity, what Karen was saying earlier, the opportunity for us to find inner peace is the peace that is so valuable to the rest, I believe, is valuable to the rest of the world. This is like my little 1/7.8 billionth of humanity's moment of peace. And therefore it's my contribution to that common peace
for sure.
of the world. And so I really, really appreciate you being a part of this week and sharing your gifts here, as you have before this hour and will after this hour for folks. Thank you so much.
You know, wholeness is contagious. Joy is contagious.
Yeah.
Suffering is contagious. So let's spread the wholeness and let's spread some laughter, right? Laughter changes the molecules of everything.
Absolutely.
Indeed it does. That's why, it must be why, with the tensions of different things and whatnot of the day and moving this production and whatnot, why Noelle laughed so hard when she walked out in the kitchen, the smoke filled the whole kitchen. And instead of something else, that was contagious for me. So the world had a big chuckle.
Yeah, right? It changes everything. It kind of wipes away the goo because it's not important anyway, like Gina said.
No, she'll post the pictures of it later, I'm sure. But thank you, Cherie.
Thank you so much for having me, for sure.
We've just had so many tech things and crazy things happen that when I saw this, I mean, it was billowing smoke. I mean, we still can smell the burnt remains of Bob's coffee. It was put on for 22 hours instead of 22 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
So when
it's okay to do that. You just shouldn't. It's okay to do that. You just shouldn't leave the room.
Yeah.
But I just want to reflect real quick here on what you were saying about being in your body, and the chakra system. For the upper chakras and the lower chakra, and it seems like people don't ever want to be in the lower chakras. It's all about, oh, I've got my highest chakra. And, it seems like it's almost like a denial of wanting to be in your body, to celebrate.
It is. And, I mean, when we look back at our childhoods, right, that's those lower chakras. And we kind of walked away from them. All those children that were hurting, whatever, we walked away from them. And, forgot that they were there. And so it's hard to look back, right? And, often when we're doing our work, it's in those lower chakras, right? For sure. You're absolutely right, and we can't operate just from here. We can't operate just from here, right? It's all got to work together. You're a computer. And I always laugh. I'm like, okay, am I going to take the muffler or the gas pump off my car and it drive? Probably not. Right? We can't leave pieces of our existence out. Right? So.
I want to offer a testimonial to this, which hasn't even been an hour, 52 minutes. And I know it's been happening everywhere, yet I'm going to speak to the heart hour because I've been present with each heart hour that we have since we started this. And within a 58-minute period, and actually less because there was intros and closing, I have been getting feedback from people on these calls about what powerful shifts they've had in their beingness. So the beauty of some focused time together, gathering in the space of the heart, openness, maybe not sure what we were getting into, yet being open. And then each person that's been on doing, I say, their magic, you know, offering their gift, and people having these profound responses and shifts. It's quite phenomenal.
Mm. Well, I'm grateful to have been
Yeah,
a part of this circle.
So much. Cherie, are you, maybe I missed it, but are you on again at the Up Convergence? Or have you already offered something?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I saw something in your Facebook that you had something coming up, but I know you have recorded. If people go to your website, you have things that they can access. We put your website in there, free 30-minute call with Cherie. And do you have anything else you'd like to close out with in this last minute or two?
Laugh as much as possible. Get out in nature as much as possible. The humans, we have been operating like dinosaurs on this planet, just devouring everything. And what I want to say is when we step out into nature, right, the only thing out in balance in nature is you. So find a tree to sit by and just call it in, right? Because I'm using the word balance, harmony, whatever feels right. But, you know, when we can get outside and allow nature to do what it does best, you know, I mean, all the bacteria, all the bacteria out in nature is talking to our gut 24/7. That's why we feel good when we come back. It gets all the bacteria in our gut feeling good, right? So just going out, listening to the water run, being present, right? I think often we'll go out in nature and we have our phones and we are occupied inside of our heads versus experiencing what is truly around us. And, you know, I really, truly believe if you're in the flow, nature is going to play with you. I've had hawks land on the ground in front of me and dance, right? Since I've been here, Karen, there's been a little hummingbird that's been following me around, you know? Like when we're in alignment and we're in the flow, nature's going to be in alignment and seeing us as a part versus something that is dangerous, right? So I'm very grateful. Go laugh, spread it around, and be very aware of what you're bringing into your hard drive, right? I think that's super important. I feel
so Noelle is offering to me that there's like a few more minutes. So maybe if you had like, you know, just feel into that like 1 to 2 minute beautiful wisdom offering to add, as you've already, it's been so rich thus far.
Okay, close your eyes for me. All right, and I want us to drop down into our gut. And today, you get to choose. You get to choose who you are, who you want to be. Right? You get to choose how you're showing up in the world. Right? Life changes one choice at a time. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know how I serve. Right? And we announce to the gods, I'm here. I'm here. I'm playing this game full out. I'm present. And today, I'm going to take back one more choice. Tomorrow, I'm going to take back another choice. And I'm going to see every choice I'm missing so that tomorrow, I don't miss it, right? That's what I really want you guys to drink in, right? You are a superhero. You are the power, and you came here for a reason, right? Fear is negating that. Anytime fear is present, the matrix is on you. Right? So play, laugh, and get out in nature and choose.
Thank you,
Thank
Cherie.
you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take it away, Noel.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cherie.
Thank you for having me.
Cherie, some love.